Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Thursday, just one day now before Arsenal return to action with that match against Aston Villa at the Emirates on Friday night, and just a few days after that 2-2 draw with Crystal Palace at the Emirates. Hopefully we don't get a repeat performance of that tomorrow night, although we could do a repeat performance of the first 20 minutes when I thought Arsenal were pretty decent, but what happened after that, nah, we don't really want to be seeing too much of that against a Villa side who won 3-0 last season at the Emirates. We've got a very good record at the Emirates since the move there in 2006, in fact. So it will not be an easy game for Arsenal. You kind of look at Villa and think that's the kind of game Arsenal are going to struggle in. It's certainly the type of game we've seen them struggle in for the last couple of years. A team that's going to play on the counter-attack, got quite a bit of pace and movement about them when they go forward. You just have a sneaky feeling it's not going to be an easy evening's work for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has just been speaking about that match in his pre-match press conference. I will do another video, or try and do another video tomorrow, looking a little bit more detail into the match, looking at some of the big decisions Mikel's got to make, and he might well have to make a few in terms of how he sets his team up, depending on what happens at Colney and with some of the injury doubts over the next 24 hours or so. And I'll give my predicted 11, that sort of thing. So that's for tomorrow. Today, I just wanted to talk about a couple of the key points from the press conference. I think the main line you're going to be seeing over the next few hours will be revolving around Alexandre Lacazette. Quite a large chunk of the press conference was about him. Obviously, he came off the bench and made a big impact on Monday night, scored the equaliser. And as the way these things work, so he had a lot of focus in the press conference today, certainly in terms of his future. We all know Laka is out of contract at the end of the season. There are no talks going on about extending that contract at the moment, and Mikel had plenty of questions about it at the press conference. I've got a few of the sort of key quotes here that he's had to say. Said, looking at the fact he's got a year left on, says it's a situation, we have to accept it. I cannot ask anything more from the player, the way he is dealing with that situation. And it's not an individual situation, it's a situation that has a knock-on effect because of others we have to deal with as well in the past and still now, to see what the best option is going to be for everybody at the end of the season. Interesting ones. I mean, it's tough to see exactly what he means by that. You kind of get the impression he's talking about that the Laka situation has been allowed to go on without a firm decision being taken because of all the other stuff that went on in the summer. Arsenal also tying down plenty of players, committing to quite a large financial outlay on some of those, and that may well have had a knock-on effect in terms of Lacazette. He did continue, said he's our player and I treat him like any other player, not because he has 1 year left. I'm going to treat him differently. I'm not going to treat him differently, and that's what he deserves. So certainly talking a bit there about, you'd presume, play players in front of him just because potentially he's going to leave in the summer. He says he's not going to do that. He's not going to treat him any differently just because of his contract situation. He was also asked, is it impossible now? Does it mean that he won't be offered a new deal? And he said, no, I wouldn't say that anything is possible. So sort of sitting on a fence a little bit there. Personally, I think, I just don't really believe that. I think, it's hard to disagree with the comment, anything is possible, because it leaves it totally open, doesn't it? But I'd be very surprised if Alexandre Lacazette signs a new contract, because, well, if he just hasn't now and there's no talks going on, it just doesn't feel like that's a situation that's going to happen. I think Laka's not playing too much at the moment. He'll know that, although he could well come in tomorrow night. He's in a very strong position in terms of his contract now. He'll have plenty of offers, I'm sure, in the summer, because he's going to be a very attractive free agent for clubs across Europe. Given his age as well, it's a really big deal for him. You'd imagine he'll get a very nice signing on fee because he'll be a free transfer. He'll get himself a nice sort of 4-year contract somewhere that will take him towards the end of his career. I just don't see that happening at Arsenal. He'll want to play as well now. He won't want to go and sit on the bench for the next couple of years. And I just can't see that there's any way, although Mikel's saying anything is possible, I'd be very surprised if Laka signed a new contract. And to be honest, Arsenal haven't even offered him a new deal, so I'm not sure Arsenal are too keen on it anyway. They want to shake up the forward department. That's something that I would be very surprised if it doesn't happen in the summer in terms of what Arsenal are going to do in the transfer market. I've said it before, I think bringing in a new striker will be the big priority for Arsenal this summer, given Orba's age, given Laka's situation, and the other strikers at the club being very young and inexperienced. I'm not expecting a summer this summer or next summer even that mirrors the one we've just been through in terms of Arsenal signing 7 players and spreading it around. I think it'll be very much a summer of 2 or 3 new additions and potentially one big money being spent on one position, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's the striker department, because it just feels like that's the area where Arsenal are really going to have to target to improve that, and central midfield will be the key priorities in the summer. So that's why I think when it comes to Lacazette, I think I still think he's got a big part to play. I can't imagine Arsenal would get rid in January. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, because you're not going to get much money for him. You're not going to really you're not going to find it easy to replace him, and you would have to replace him if you let him go in January. So I can't really see that happening. I think it's going to be a case of Lacazette leaving on a free in the summer. But he just feels to me he's the type of player, and he's committed enough to Arsenal that he'll give everything between now and the end of the season. He certainly did when he came off the bench against Crystal Palace on Monday night, and I do expect that he'll probably play tomorrow. I'd be surprised if he's on the bench again, given the impact he made against Palace. So that's what Mikel had to say about Lacazette. Tell me what you think Arsenal should do with Lacazette. Do you think he's worth a new contract? Should Arsenal bother even trying to open contract talks with Lacazette now, or is it just time to move on, bring someone else new in the summer and move on from Lacazette? Wish him all the best and good luck. Let me know what you think. Obviously, team news-wise, we haven't had the update from Arsenal. I think that's going to be coming out tomorrow. Their sort of pre-match team news update that they do used to be the day before the game or just before a press conference. They've changed it now to the day of the game, so you'll wait until tomorrow to get the sort of definitive comment from Arsenal, although it's not really ever very definitive, because all they say is being assessed. And that's kind of what Mikel had to say today when he was asked about the latest on Bukayo Saka. He did say he hasn't trained yet, so we'll assess him today and see how he is. Given the fact he hasn't trained yet since that injury on Monday night, which forced him off about at half-time following that vicious volley from James McArthur. I still can't believe he didn't get sent off for that. You'd have to say Saka's going to be a big doubt for Friday night with that injury if he hasn't trained yet. What are Arsenal going to do there without Saka? That maybe gives you the opportunity to move Auba over to the left and play Lacazette up front, which has got its issues. We've said about it before. I don't like seeing Auba on the left. I mean, Auba's scoring goals this season as well. I think he's got 6 in 8 now. Do you really want to move him back out to the left? So it's going to be a big decision for Mikel what he does there. Do you play Martinelli, who I think also made a bit of an impact when he came on Monday night? He's another option. But I just don't think he's really take a risk with Bukayo. If he's not 100%, then you've got options in the squad to change things around. And I think, I'd be surprised probably if that's not what Arsenal do, given the viciousness of that. I mean, I just can't. His leg must be in pieces after that. It was full lid kicked on the calf. It must have been so incredibly painful for him. But Mikel's saying he will be assessed. In terms of the rest of the team, he didn't name any names. He wouldn't do it. But he did say there was 2 or 3 players who finished the game with some issues, and we have to look at them today. So it could be a couple other players who are doubts for Arsenal. Like I said, we'll have to wait until tomorrow's team news update from that to see if they really sort of go into any further detail about who exactly are the doubts. But Bukayo Saka certainly a big doubt for the match. Aston Villa obviously brings Emi Martinez back to Arsenal again. Been lots of talk about Emi since he left. Fair play to him. He's gone on, done superbly at Villa and at Argentina. Looks like he is a sensational goalkeeper, no doubt about it. The more and more time goes by, the more he plays for Villa and Argentina, the more you think what a terrible mistake that was by Arsenal to let him go in the end. I do have some sympathy for Arsenal for the way it all took place. They were going to have to sell one goalkeeper last summer to bring some money in. It was going to be far easier to sell Emi Martinez. There was much more of a market for Emi Martinez, given Leno had been injured and Martinez had been in goal and had made such an impact. And they ultimately, and the fact that Martinez wanted to go, he didn't want to. Arteta wouldn't say he was going to be number one. He wanted assurances it would be him. That wasn't forthcoming, so he wanted to go. So I do have some sympathies for Arsenal, but it's certainly one that looks really, really tough decision now as Martinez goes on. But having said that, Ramsdale's come in now, done very, very well for Arsenal, and is looking like a very decent signing. Mikel speaking about Martinez and the decision and letting him go. He said, he said, we made decisions with the best possible interest of the club, but as well, a big participant was Emi. He got to a point in his career where under me, he started to play big games very well. It was urgent for him because he wanted to play for so long. He's a great kid. I played with him. I managed him. And I can say I am very happy for him. This will be the first time that Martinez has come back to the Emirates in front of a crowd. Obviously, last season was behind closed doors, so he wasn't able to get a decent reception. I'm sure he'll get a very good reception on Friday night. Hasn't conceded a goal yet in his 2 games played against Arsenal. Villa winning 3-0 at the Emirates last season and 1-0 at Villa Park. Hopefully that changes on Friday night. But the way Martinez is playing and sort of character is and the attitude he's got, you would suggest he is going to be bang up for this one as well. And he's going to want to do everything he can to ensure he doesn't concede a goal. So it'll be interesting to see the reception he gets, but I'm sure it will be a good one. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate your time. As always, like I said, I will try and do another video tomorrow looking a little bit more in depth into the Villa game, going through some of the big sort of decisions Mikel is facing in terms of his team selection. I'll give my predicted 11, that sort of thing. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Until then, everyone, have a very good day. Sunny out there. Get out there. Enjoy the sunshine while you can. I'll speak to you soon.